Great, so we copy the code from Claude, head over to NHIN, hit paste, and the entire AI agent has populated. Claude generated this entire thing in about 20 seconds. This is a Slack integration that grabs information from Slack, has an AI agent that has internet access, and it can send information back over to Slack, and it also has a full access to RAG database. These agents it's created has full information explaining how it all works, the scenario overview, what the agent does, the integrations, and a search knowledge and tool. This was made in about 20 seconds. So what I'm going to show in this video is all the prompts I used to create this. We're going to build a few together so you can just run these off and save yourself loads of time. So we're going to build this in Claude. And the first one we're going to build is an AI agent with internet access. Now we're building this in Claude in projects because it has access to basically capabilities that we can't access in N8N. Deeper reasoning modes, parallel tool calls, lots of cool stuff like that. We give it a big and beautiful prompt, which I'm gonna run you through and provide with you completely for free in this video. And also gonna give you all the resources that you need to run and crush this. This includes hundreds of scenarios, including a short description of what they do and all the JSON blueprints. That also includes this beautiful N8N infrastructure document with 33 pages of N8N goodness. We've got the N8N JSON validation rules, and then we've got, of course, the big and beautiful 43-page ultimate N8N guide. So what we're basically going to do, guys, is create the prompt. We are then going to get it to Claude and give it these resources and just pull it together. So let's build this one together completely from scratch. So come back over to projects, click on new project. We give it a big, beautiful name, which is big, beautiful N8N build. And by the way, if it's a summery atmosphere, it's because I'm in France right now, so I'm reacclimatizing. Creates N8N scenarios simply. Sweet. All right, now we're going to create the project. Now we need to do two things. One is give it the big, beautiful prompt. And secondly, is going to be the project knowledge. So step one, go into the comment section, download all the materials that you need to upload it, and then basically come down to here and project knowledge, click the plus, and then we're going to upload from device. Now, what's really cool about these resources, guys, is they break down specifically for Claude. Now, Claude's got a lot of knowledge already, plus it can search the internet. But what we do is actually provide it the specific code snippets for things that it's going to use a lot of the time, meaning it can then go forth and generate them way more reliably. And in building out all these documentations here, guys, and all these different files, one of the things that I did was basically run it through, see where it failed, fixed the failures, and did a lot of iterations just to save you all the time and hassle of physically doing it. And obviously it comes with all these beautiful, beautiful kind of like sticky notes and stuff. So the next thing we want to do, now we've uploaded those documents, is to quite simply give it its prompt. And to do that, guys, come down to set project instructions and just paste in the big prompt that I'm going to give you. So why is this so valuable? Well, basically, it just covers all the common errors it's going to get. It explains specifically what I want it to do. So we can include things in here like strict JSON validity, which is making sure it's functional JSON, give it a comprehensive overview, robust error handling, clarity and documentation, verifiable and practical tools, visual clarity, blah, 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 all the way down. Loads of really cool examples that would just validate everything. Click instructions. Once that's done, we can now begin and test it out. So for example, hey, I'd like to create me a simple AI agent triggered by Slack that has the ability to search the internet and has memory. Bam. Then we hit enter, and then Claude will go forth and research it. I'm being very transparent with you guys. Like, what is the big value of this? The biggest value of building and creating JSONs using Claude 4, it's like time saving is a big piece of it, but actually the best part, I think, is the architectural design. This isn't gonna like change your world all of a sudden you've got 50 different hours a week. So some aspects of this are really overhyped. The best, I think, pieces, where this drives value is actually its ability to create architecture for you based on the prompts and stuff that I've given it. Because I've really positioned this as a business critical context where I want you to really think about and apply your business logic and how you're actually creating these things. And the architectural thought is really what kind of crushes it with this. And even based on the prompts I gave it, it's now actually searching the internet to go forth and enrich it, which basically means as more things come out and it gets published, the better your agent will be in creating these things. Beautiful, and based on the research of N8N documentation and provided workflow examples, it is creating a comprehensive AI agent triggered by Slack with internet search capabilities and memory. And then bam, it starts creating everything for us in the background. We just simply copy and paste that into Claude and I'm ready to kick some ass. And if you've got your own prompts that you're playing with, I would absolutely still recommend that you use what I call the JSON validation rules, because if your prompts fall down, it's usually going to be for one of these reasons like UUID generation, no type verification. So grab that and just add it to anything that you're doing to make your life just a little bit easier. Cool, so this is now completing up. And guys, I must admit, France is very, very sunny. Coming from the UK, I must admit, I was not ready for the climate that France was going to bring. So it's very beautiful. We got our coffees on lockdown. We're enjoying our coffees. Well, what better place to automate than in France with some beautiful coffees? Cool, so it's now done everything there. It's also given us an explainer of how it works. All we do, we come over, we click copy. We come over to our beautiful scenario, we come down here and we click paste. And just like that, we then have our beautiful agent that has all the things. So check this out, guys. Again, it's giving us error handling information. Bring this over here. Now, this is not the point where it's absolutely perfect every single time. And the only thing I think we need to change here, guys, is probably just delete one of these branches, which is cool. So I just delete all these guys. We don't really need those. And to be honest, we also don't need this, and we can bring it in. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of tweak around the edges. Like people saying this is off the shelf, you'll never prompt again. It's not true. You are gonna have to do things. But the key bit of it here is that we can use AI's intelligence now to help us create more effective flows and just build the thing that we actually wanna do. And then you can click in and just move things around. And actually, and even just coming to the agent, you can see it's actually giving it full prompts and instructions. I mean, look at how great this is. It's just like giving everything. So literally, as opposed to, and this is the stage of how AI works, right? You create 100% of things. Now we're at a position where it creates it and you're modifying. So instead of doing 100% of work, now you're doing like 10 to 15%, which is freaking crazy. It explains what AI agent is. It gives us a scenario view, and now we're ready to rock and roll. So which is, I think, really freaking cool. So for a second one, guys, let's come over and give it a slightly different prompt, something a little bit more complex. So create an end-to-end workflow that automatically processes new lead submissions. It should be triggered by a webhook when a new lead form is submitted. The workflow should then add the lead's name, email, and company to a designated Google Sheet for tracking. Immediately following, it should then send a concise Slack notification to the sales team channel announcing the new lead, including their name and company. Implement basic error handling for the Google Sheets and Slack steps. Bam. So let's send this one off. And then what I'm going to do in the last prompt, guys, is show you what it can do in terms of its architecture. So what I'm actually going to do is give it a problem to say, hey, this is the outcome I want. And it's always better to think about, when you're building scenarios, think about what is the outcome that I want and then work backwards from that. So we're going to do outcome-based prompting with this, which I think is going to be super exciting. So it's going to start building things in the background, and then we can actually explore and see the magic that it's creating for us. Another thing I just add in for your knowledge, guys, is that Claude, in my view, is the best model I've seen at creating code. So it stands to reason it would also be the best one to use when creating JSON for NHIN. And actually, it's been my experience because we built the Chrome extension. That was freaking awesome. Follows you around, connects loads of cool stuff. Claude does take it a slight level higher than that. It's gotten way better, and I expect literally in the coming months, the generations to go up, up, and up to the point where it will be semi-flawless at some point where we can just say things. Now, this is all complete, so we just copy. Let's head back over to our scenario now and see what we're dealing with, and we Control V and see what we're dealing with. And one thing I'll also say, guys, on every single occasion, it creates it successfully, right? So it's actually creating what's happening here. So let's have a quick look at what we've got. All right, so come down here. Let's see what we're dealing with. So a little bit on formatting thing that we can do. I think we can improve the formatting with this stuff. So again, we need to move things around a little bit, just make sure it's nice and pretty. So guys, this one is really interesting. So it's not perfect, but it's actually not done a bad job. So in the webhook trigger, initially what this did is instead of using respond to webhook node, it did it immediately. So what we would then do is we just update that prompt slightly. I'll do that for you. So when the doc you get, that'll be live for you. But effectively, that was not quite right. But the logical flow it's taken, I'm really, really impressed with. It's validating data, right? And then you can see how it's doing things like notifying the sales team and logging things in Google Sheets. Now, we'd want to reorganize this slightly. So we need to validate the data. Would we want to send a message to Slack? No, probably not. But what we probably want to do actually is remove this and just send a response back like, hey, incorrect data, or whatever we want to, right? Then we can format, we basically log it, and then we can send a new message to Slack. So you can basically pick the bits that you want, right? So we get rid of this guy, we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this, we can bring this in. But you can see how this is really valuable, right? So if this has got an error, then we can say, hey, there's been an issue there. So you can see how sequentially it's starting to log things together. And that was just from one single freaking prompt, and you can kind of like basically eat your heart's content with this sort of stuff. That explains exactly how it works. Now, if you want to get the most out of this stuff, guys, what you need to do is run it, see if it meets your criteria, come back, edit it, and then do it again. So in the last example, what we're going to do is give Claude a challenge, something to think about architecturally for our purposes. And guys, I'm going to be really vague with this. Build me a really effective customer onboarding automation. You'll receive their name, their email address, their budget, when they want to get started, and a few other pieces of information. Just build me out what would be the most epic, useful flow that would deliver value. Be creative and just surprise me. So now we can actually test its ability to think creatively about the problem that we've got and see how it leans onto this. I think the most impressive thing is that its failure rate for creating a scenario is really low, but it's all about kind of fine tuning and building it around the kind of stuff that you want to do so you can kind of use it very, very, very robustly. But this is really impressive stuff. See, but look at this, guys. Look, best customer onboarding automation workflows 2025, AI person customer. It's like its ability to go forward and like check all these different results on Google to find out like actually what is the latest stuff that's happening. And again, it's gone and searched out again. So it's got 20 different websites it's searching now to actually inform external knowledge on the internet with building scenarios on NHIN, which I think is really freaking cool. Now guys, one interesting thing to call out is that if the response is really long, you'll have to nudge Claude and say, hey, yeah, I still want you to keep working. I'm not quite sure why Claude does that. Maybe it just needs some encouragement. Maybe it needs a little bit of coffee as it goes. Now, a couple of things that might be helpful for you to know and that I learned kind of building this stuff out was the fact that the more complex you try to make its scenario building capabilities, think of it as like, you know, the more that can potentially go wrong. So if you want agent workflows, sub-agent workflows, you want to produce like 4 or 5 different JSONs, like the interoperability of it can create problems. So what I wanted to do in this video is keep it kind of like really business focused, like actually trying to solve that, make sure it's researching business focused resources, leveraging all the prompt stuff we've gave it, the way that we set the things up, so it can give you robust, workable, functional, you know, basically, hopefully almost client-ready stuff with just a few tweaks. All right, guys, so we've got this scenario here. We come over, let's paste it in and see how we get on. Let's come over and see what we've got. All right, let's have a quick look. Now, guys, I just ran a scenario and the code didn't work. And when that happens, come back and say, hey, please amend it so it's valid and we'll actually post into NHIN. So occasionally, if you're doing something particularly complex, it can get it wrong, which is, I just want to be really transparent about where this is good and where it's bad. And occasionally for big stuff, you need to give it a second nudge. But that is one of the cool things about it, is that you can say, hey, it ain't working, or hey, could you change this? Could you modify that? And actually make it more of a conversation than something that's like super single shot. So we'll let this finish and then we can enter it in and see the magic is created. Okay, beautiful. So now we've got it, we paste it in and let's see what we are dealing with. All right, I like it, I like it. Let's have a look at what it said. So the epic customer, and bear in mind, I just said, hey, I just want an onboarding journey. So look, what will it do? This workflow creates a hyper-personalized AI-driven onboarding experience that segments customers by budget, timelines, and needs, personalizes everything with AI analysis, multi-channel engagement, smart analytics and sentiment tracking, supplies and delight moments, AI-powered success predictions. And the inputs, beautiful. But having this kind of documentation, especially when you're selling this to clients, is so freaking cool. So we've got the webhook that comes in. We're going to format the data. We're going to analyze it. And it's given us the code to analyze it. That is freaking crazy. So of course, we need to do our classic cosmetic sweep up, as we always invariably do. Let's just bring everything down here. So I guess the logic here is it would send it down 1 of 3 pathways. So it's missing something to do that basically. And then basically messages go to Slack, which is cool. And what's really cool here is we've got these different follow-up sequences. So we'd want to restructure the order of how this works. Think about it from an architectural point of view, like what's the stuff that it's doing? And obviously then we can come back and say, hey, I want you to do it in XYZ sequence. But this is a really freaking powerful piece of technology. We obviously need to change a few things, but just in terms of where it's at from a conceptual point of view, the fact that it wants to wait 3 days to do check-ins and emails, this is going to be something super exciting. Let me know how you find it down below in the comment section. I'll put all the resources there. And if you haven't seen this video on screen about AI operating systems, I strongly recommend that you go check that one out. In any case, have a beautiful week, and I'll see you in my next video.